Happy New Year! I hope you guys all had a really great holiday, and now we are getting back into the swing of things with a high protein vegan meal prep. We're starting off with this protein banana bread, 4 servings, 23 grams of protein per serving. It is so good. First, I had some very sad, upsetting looking bananas. These actually looked worse than they were because I put them in the fridge, so I needed to really use them up, but they were good. So we're just going to unpeel all 3 of them, and then I'm going to start to mash them up, which was relatively easy because they were so soft. And I feel like nobody has the intention of making banana bread. Banana bread just comes to you when the time is appropriate, when those bananas are overripe. Now we are going to add in some non-dairy milk. I am using Ripple Pea protein milk. New year, same me. I love this stuff. And we're going to add in a little bit more because I ran out in that container. A little vanilla extract and a little bit of agave in the raw. You could use maple syrup. You could use coconut sugar. You could use whatever sweetener you like. I'm just partial to a liquid one like the agave. Then we're going to add in some vital wheat gluten. Yes, this is the stuff to make seitan. No, it does not turn this into seitan. It just adds in extra protein. Use whatever flour you like. I've got this bag that I want to use up, so I use it a lot in baking. Some ground cinnamon, baking powder, and vanilla protein. Unfortunately, this protein powder is discontinued, so you can't use it, but any vanilla protein powder that you like will work great. And just mix this all up. Then we're going to add in a little bit of vegan chocolate chips because why not make it fun? Mix this all up, just get it all well incorporated. It's a thicker batter, but that's what we want here. Then I'm going to take my little baking loaf pan, sprayed it with oil, and I'm just going to get all that in there. And we are going to bake this at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 50 minutes to an hour, depending on your oven, until a toothpick comes out clean. It should be nice and golden. I'm just going to spread this out, and I love this because it's so good. You could have it for breakfast, dessert, snack. You could have more than 4 servings if you want, and it's really good. When it comes out, it should look nice and beautiful. As you can see, the toothpick comes out clean. Let it cool in the pan for 10 to 15 minutes, and then you can just flip it over on a dish. And it is so good. I had it with some peanut butter on top. It was delicious. You could do vegan butter. You could just have it plain. It's really good. Let's cut it open, see what it looks like inside. And it is so beautiful. I love that I added the chocolate chips. That was a very good move on my part. I recommend doing that. And it's so yummy. Next up, we are making this protein veggie pasta. I love this one because we're getting in lots of hidden veggies. So I'm going to start off by cutting up a bell pepper. You could use any color that you like. I like red and orange because they're sweeter and they'll make the color of the sauce better. Then we're going to do some celery and some carrots. I always use baby carrots because I'm so lazy. I hate peeling carrots. And I'm cutting everything into relatively big chunks because we're going to blend this. This is just to get the cooking process going. And some onion. I didn't even really cut this up. I'm just going to break it up with my hands in the pan. The smaller you cut things, obviously the faster they cook. So if you want it to cook quicker, cut them smaller. I'm going to add in some of the muti and some water. And we're just going to cover this and let this cook for like 30 minutes. We want those veggies to get super nice and soft. We want all the flavors to start to develop. Then we're going to pop that all into a blender with nutritional yeast, red pepper flakes, and then I did garlic powder, onion powder, salt, a little agave because the passata is sweet, but it has a little bit of bitterness and acidity in it. So we want to add a little sweetness to counter that. And then we're also going to add in some non-dairy milk. And that's it. Now we just blend it up. I'm going to cook my protein pasta. This is what I'm using from Brahmi. It is lupini bean based and it is so good. Pour our sauce into our pan. Just start to let that cook. We will add in the cooked pasta. I cooked it for about 2 minutes less so that way it could finish cooking in the sauce. And I added in some vegan mozzarella shreds. And that's it. Super simple, super delicious. If you are a pasta lover like myself, then you will be very happy to be having this protein pasta. It's so cozy, creamy, delicious. And then I just divide this out into the containers after it's cooled for a little bit. So that way it's just done, ready to go. All I have to do is pop this in the microwave to warm it up. So super easy. Last but certainly not least, we are making protein vegan chicken and dumplings, 40 grams of protein per serving, which is mostly thanks to this little guy right here. This is fava bean tofu. It is so good, so much protein. Of course, you can also use regular tofu as well if you want to use super firm tofu. So I started off by grating the tofu. You could also cut it into pieces, but I wanted it to be really small within the soup. And this did break apart a little bit, but whatever, who cares? So I'm going to cook this separately so that way it has some nice flavor and texture in it and it's not just like boiled tofu in the soup. So I'm doing some garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, salt, and I'm just going to toss this around, and then I will re-season everything just to make sure it has a lot of flavor, because we want this to enhance our vegan chicken and dumplings. And then I am going to add a little bit of spray oil as well, just to help it cook. And I'm going to pop this on the stove for about 10 to 15 minutes over a medium-low heat, just mixing it occasionally, letting it get slightly crispy, slightly cooked. It'll just do its thing on its own. It's nice, you can just forget about it. In the meantime, we're going to start to work on our soup component. So we're going to add in our oil, onions. I am being lazy and using a bag of mixed frozen veggies. I didn't feel like chopping anything else today, and that was it. So then I just let that all cook up on the stove, for 5 to 10 minutes until it got warm and thawed. Then we're going to add in a little vegan butter, all-purpose flour, mix this all up. This is going to help to make our soup thicker. Then we're going to add in slowly our vegan chicken broth. I'm using Better Than Bouillon vegan chicken broth. If you can't find that, you can of course just use veggie broth. I just like that it has this extra kind of saltiness and flavor to it. So I add a little bit in, mix it around, and you'll start to see it's getting really thick in there. Then we'll add a little bit more in, mix it around. We want to do this slowly so that way the flour and the broth mix together well and don't clump up. After you do it a few times, then you can just add in the rest of the liquid. And I know it's going to get thin again, but then it'll thicken back up again. Okay, just trust me. And I'm going to add in another 2 cups of water, or you could do vegetable broth, whatever you're using. I'm going to let that cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. Then I'm going to add in our cooked tofu. Looks nice and good. Throw that in there. And then I'm going to just add in a little bit of seasonings to our soup. So I'm going in with some garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of salt. I just keep it super simple, some black pepper. Going to mix this up, and then we're going to pop our lid on. Then we're going to make our biscuit dough. So I have a little bit of melted vegan butter, the non-dairy milk, ripple again, all-purpose flour, baking powder, and salt. And this is really the way you just make a regular dumpling. I just made a smaller version of it, and I used less vegan butter. So I'm just going to mix it all up. It takes like a few seconds to come together, and it should look like a biscuit dough when you're all done with it. And I thought about doing something different, but I was like, I just really want the goodness of the dumplings in there. And I was like, this is the way to do it. So our soup was nice and boily. I'm going to add in some dried parsley, and now we are going to just start making our little dumplings. Just drop them in there. I like to take 2 spoons, just kind of scoop some and then like cut it off and push it in to the soup. It's so easy to do, and they're so good. It's so comforting and cozy and delicious. Pop the lid on, let this cook for 15 minutes. Once they're all done, they should still be floating at the top. They should look really light and fluffy. Now, of course, you can taste the soup one more final time. Make sure you like all the flavors in it, but it should be really good and yummy and good to go now. And then I wanted to show you what the inside of the dumpling looks like. So it almost looks like a dry biscuit inside. That's what it should look like. It shouldn't look wet or doughy or anything. And now it's all done, and it's so yummy. And of course, we're just going to portion this out as well into containers. And there you go. Now you have these really delicious recipes. Everything is written out in the description box down below. And I hope you try these out. Let me know what you think if you do. And I'm so excited to start off the new year and get ready for more fun recipes. Bye.